Alright, so I got a couple videos here. It's kind of a twofer, I guess, but not really. I found this one video called Why You Should Have Children. It's a response to these two people named Greg and Mitch. I think they're a gay couple or something. But the original video from Greg and Mitch is like 3 minutes long. 3 minutes, almost 30 seconds long. This one from some guy named Coach Red Pill is like 12 minutes long as a response. Now, I've watched both of them, but I'm just going to show you what the Greg and Mitch video is about real quick. I'll probably play through half of it, or I'll just speed it up a little bit. And you'll notice the difference between somebody who's telling you to have kids and somebody who's telling you not to have kids. I wouldn't go for these reasons that Greg and Mitch are giving, just full stop, but, you know, it's better than what the other guy's going to bring, and you'll see why. So here we go.
Tell you whether or not you should have a kid or not, but a lot of people seem to act as though you'll be completely unfulfilled unless you have children.
So it's like us, your family and friends are always pestering about when you're gonna have a kid, and you're like, better not. Here's some scientific evidence as to why you probably shouldn't have a kid.
Okay, just hold up. You know what? I just don't know who's pestering a gay couple about when they're going to have kids. I don't know how it's going to work. Maybe adopt? I don't know. But anyways, sorry.
Perhaps your relationship is in a rut and you think that kids might bring you closer together. Statistically, it will absolutely not. Research shows that marital satisfaction plummets after your first child, and 70% of couples experience a big slump in their love life. This is often due to clashing ideas of how to raise your child, along with sleeplessness.
So yes, your kids will ruin your sleep. So in the first 2 years of your baby's life, survey data has found that you will lose 6 months of sleep, and you will only receive about 2.5 hours of continuous sleep each night. And too little sleep can lead to a myriad of health problems, such as slower reflexes, increased mental health issues, weakened immune system, heart disease, premature death, or the large life complication of being grumpy as fuck.
It'll also cut into your wallet. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, if you're a woman with a child, you make 3% less than a woman that is childless. However, this is not true of men, who make an additional 15% if they have kids compared to those without. It has nothing to do with how hard you work, how many hours you work, or the job you have, but the double standard idea that men are breadwinners and women are caregivers. Employers...
Alright, I'm just going to stop it there. Now, you notice they're bringing up sources and facts and all that, or I don't know. Some people question the sources, and fair enough, but at least these guys have them. So whether you want to refute the sources that they have, fine, whatever, but I really don't need to. I don't even go off these sort of things for not having kids. You don't need a source, you just need to be alive, have a pulse to see what I'm talking about, or any antinatalist is talking about. But you notice that they actually did provide some sources and something to back up their claims as to why you shouldn't have kids, why it's a bad idea. So now we'll go over to Coach Red Pill and his response to the video, and I've sped this one up too again, but it's just ridiculous. Just watch. Or listen, I guess, sorry.
And the funny thing is that, see, at the end of your life, at the end of anybody's life, see, lots of people are going to regret the days that they spent at the office. Very few, if any, people will ever regret having had the kids that they had. More often than not, they'll wish they had had more. You see, because children give your life meaning.
See, yeah, children give your life meaning. I don't understand that. The only reason to have kids is to keep this game going. That's it. That is all there is to it. Sure, it kind of deludes you into think. Yes, society and maybe parts of our biology are sort of duping us into doing it, but there's no point to having kids, because what's their meaning? Oh, to have kids. And what's their kids' meaning? To have kids. And you can keep going on down the line. There is no real meaning behind it. So we'll just keep watching this video. He's going to repeat himself later. Like I said, I watched it, so I didn't feel like responding to it just outright. But it's just so dumb.
So on my YouTube feed, there was this video by a pair called Greg and Mitch. I'd never heard of them, to tell you the truth. And they were saying how you shouldn't have children. You shouldn't.
Yeah, you shouldn't. There's no good reason to do it. Not a single good fucking reason out there to have kids. Maybe I could even grant you this. It could be you could find good reasons for kids for your benefit, but for the kids' benefit, there is absolutely zero. There is no good point to having kids for their sake. None whatsoever.
Have children because, well, children cause so many problems in your life. You know, they're expensive. They said something like that the average kid costs $13,000 a year, which I think it's probably a lot more. I have 4, okay? And I can assure you that they're very...
Oh, 4 kids. I forgot about that, yeah. Ugh.
Very, very expensive. So they were saying that they cost a lot of money. They deprive you of your sleep because they're crying and all the rest of it. They hold you back in your career if you're a woman. And there seems to be some sort of discrimination against in favor of men who have children, something weird like that.
There kind of is. As a single male, I've noticed that. It's not like written in stone or anything, or just like a policy you can read out, but generally married men, I've noticed, get less riskier jobs. And I'm speaking in generalities here from where I've worked. They get the less riskier jobs, and they get paid more. They generally are given more managerial positions as well, because the company kind of has them. They basically own them, because they know they're not just going to walk away, so usually.
Sort of implying. They were also implying that basically the quality of your life will deteriorate if you have children. And to all of these considered reasons that Greg and Mitch were saying, I have to say, yeah, they're right. I mean, if you want to have more disposable income and, be able to buy more stuff, I think having children is a tremendous mistake. If you want to, only live...
Well, you're going to... Okay, that second point I did not get behind. If you want to be able to buy more stuff, they're buying far less stuff than what you're going to buy, because they don't have 4 other dependents. And I don't know if your wife works or not, maybe 5 dependents. So they're going to be buying far less items. Far, far less. That doesn't make any sense to me, really.
For yourself, having children is...
Oh, I guess for yourself, but I'm looking around your office and it doesn't look like you skimped on yourself at all.
If you want to have a better sex life with more interesting partners and more interesting combinations of people, yeah, absolutely. Having children is just a horrible thing and you should not do it. I mean, what insanity is this? I mean, what bullshit is this?
That seems like they have something to back it up with, at least. I haven't checked through all the articles, mainly because most of them have a paywall, but yeah. They actually gave solid reasons for not having kids. Very good ones, in my opinion. Though, granted, those circumstances they're talking about can change, some of them. Maybe not the sleep or whatever, or your marriage, but economic things, that can change at any point. It could get worse, it could get better, we don't know. But they at least have some sort of backing, and you agreed with them. So how is this insanity?
What insanity are we fomenting in our society if we actually take seriously these two individuals?
Well, then it would be over. Wouldn't that be nice? We wouldn't have to strive for bullshit that just doesn't mean anything, really. Having kids doesn't mean anything, really, either. You suffer and die for nothing on this planet. Your hopes and dreams come to die here.
Greg and Mitch saying that you should not have children. What the hell is going on? What bullshit is this? Because it is bullshit.
And how is it bullshit? Because I noticed you don't have any sources in your description at all. Granted, I don't put anything in my description, but, my citation is life itself. Looking at life itself, saying, oh yeah, I pretty much am just here for a short time and not a good time either.
Because, see, like the best bullshit, on its surface, it seems reasonable.
Unlike yours, which doesn't have any reason to back it up at all.
Because it is absolutely true, by the way, that children cost you a pretty penny. I mean, I'm talking, the doctor, and the delivery room, and the clothes, and then this and that, and you have all kinds of medical expenses just to make sure that the kid is okay. And then you have clothing, and the toys, and the furniture, and this and that, and the other. And, those bills pile up awfully quickly when you have a...
Yeah, and you act like that's not a barrier to entry for some people. You know what I mean? Like, you act like that everyone just has all this income to just throw away towards bringing someone else here to have another dependent when they can barely feed themselves. Yeah, okay.
Child. They're absolutely right when they mention this. And they are absolutely right when they say that sleep deprivation is a big deal insofar as having a child. With a newborn, even up to the age of a toddler.
Well, I don't think you're going to be getting more sleep when you have a newborn baby or even a toddler, like you mentioned. In fact, I just came back from one of my best friend's houses. That dude is dead. Basically, like, not dead, but like dead tired. He went to bed at 9 o'clock tonight, and it's a Saturday. Well, Sunday now, but Saturday night, yeah.
You lose sleep, you lose a ton of sleep. They say that you lose something like 6 months worth of sleep. I would not be surprised if that were accurate. Absolutely. Prima facie, what they are saying is true.
Yeah, it's true. It's true on its face, or at first glance, I guess is what it means in Latin. And, it's true just in general. It's true if you dig a little deeper, yeah. What the reasons they gave are pretty solid. Not the best reasons in my book, but yeah, they are pretty solid. If you want to have more money, you want to have more sleep and all this sort of stuff, yeah, don't be having kids. It doesn't help your career as a woman, and it certainly doesn't help your dating life for either gender. If you're a single parent looking to go out there and date, it's definitely not going to help you there.
Having children is detrimental to your life on a superficial, financial basis.
No. It's just straight up damaging to your life, and you brought another person here to get damaged. You act like finances are just some sort of superficial thing. They're not in this society. You need finances to keep going in this world, unless you just prefer to live out in a cardboard box, living basically hand to mouth, hoping that strangers give you scraps to eat or something. It's not superficial.
Absolutely true. See, but like I said, the best bullshit floats on a surface of truth. And this is no exception, because you see, what they're not telling you here is that when you have children, your life changes radically. You are no longer a child. You are no longer a good consumer in this capitalist...
You're no longer a good consumer. I forgot about this bit. You are no longer a good consumer. You just dropped 4 other mouths onto this planet. You dropped 4 other people that need fed, clothed, sheltered, and all that, who are going to go out and need it even more. You're telling these people that you're just some sort of like minimalist, frugal person for having kids? Are you fucking shitting me? You guys are the biggest consumers on planet Earth. People with kids consume far more resources than anybody who's like in a homosexual relationship or lesbian relationship or whatever. Because they're not there having kids unless they adopt. And then these kids were already here in the first place, so yeah. It's not like they're really adding to the bill of consumption. You guys are the big consumers. Now, if you're talking about, like, I don't know, little frivolous bullshit things, I mean, some of us just aren't about that, and I'm one of them.
consumer society. You become a man or a woman.
You become a man or a woman after puberty, yeah. Not when you have kids. Not when you use those reproductive capabilities do you become a man or a woman. I mean, I'm a man. I got 2 balls and a dick. I'm a male.
And as such, your life, your priorities, your interests, everything about your life changes radically.
Well, yes, it is. It's going to. You have more dependents now. You have people that count on you for their care and welfare. Yeah, I would say that it's going to change radically. Even just adopting a pet, you realize that you are in charge of its welfare and care. Duh, we all know this.
Because all of a sudden, you are responsible for another human being.
Duh, no shit.
Once you become responsible for another human being, your priorities, what matters to you, changes. And it changes enormously.
And you can also get that same feeling by either adopting or taking care of an elderly person like I have in the past. Taking care of elderly people. You get that sense of responsibility and taking care of somebody. Yeah, you can get that too. It doesn't have to be you cranking out kids with your spouse or whoever. It's not necessary.
Money is no longer an issue because you're not thinking that,
money is no longer an issue now that you have dependents. 4 of them in your case. Money is no longer an issue. Money is no longer an issue. I think it becomes an even greater issue when you have people that count on you for their care and welfare.
I'm going to get money so I can buy stuff for myself.
Says the guy who has 2 clocks sitting next to each other and an Apple MacBook and all this sort of shit and a TV sitting here, and this is just your office. I see a bunch of crap everywhere. Yeah, my ass.
You're looking at money as merely a tool to provide for your family.
I look at money as a tool in the same way too, and I'm a single dude who lives on his own. Been doing it for quite a while. Yeah, that's all I've ever viewed money as.
I can say this as a man. I work harder because of my children.
I could say this as a man too. I work harder too because I want to have a more comfortable lifestyle for myself, which is really just simple things I like. Making sure that I can pay my bills and all that sort of stuff. Not just now, but years down the road, should something happen to me. So, yes, I do work pretty fucking hard. And I could say that to you as a man. I don't really get the option to not work hard either.
Because I'm interested in providing for them.
I would fucking hope so.
I'm really interested in getting more toys, getting the latest iPhone. My iPhone is like 3 years old.
Yeah, great. I've never had an iPhone, much less a smartphone. I have a 5-year-old flip phone held together with tape. It's holding the back right now. So, yeah. Oh, great. You have a 3-year-old iPhone. It costs more than, what, 5 of these phones I have put together, if not more?
And they announced some very expensive one. Before I had children, sure, I'd be thinking, oh yeah, I'm gonna wait around and get that X one, the one that costs like $1,000. Sure, I'm gonna get it. Now, why would I bother? I have other priorities, other things that are more important. It's not that I am denying myself. It's that all these things are no longer important.
They never were important to someone like me. I never cared. And I'm sure some people out here listening can agree with that. Like, who gives a fuck about an iPhone? I don't. I've never wanted one, never needed one. Same with like whatever. What's the other one? Like Android or something like that. And my tablet I'm talking on right now is used. I got it for like $60 years ago. I think it was like 4 years ago now. I think it's like a 5 or 6-year-old tablet altogether. I'm not sure, but yeah. Never once has that crossed my mind.
Because what children gives you is a sense of understanding what is truly important and what does not matter.
You can get that sense without children. It's just called growing up and maturing.
Having toys, having little gadgets and crap like that. It's sort of like you're a drug addict, and then all of a sudden a light switch gets hit, and all those drugs that you were so interested in getting, i.e., all those toys that you had to have, well, you don't even think about them.
I don't either. I never really have. And this is coming from a guy who has 2 clocks, a MacBook, a tablet, nice pair of glasses, a suit on with a mic, 2 different cameras to capture different angles at least, a flat screen TV in the background, and I can go on. A nice mic, decent furniture, better furniture than what I got, and a nice chair sitting on. Yeah, and I don't understand. This is so weird hearing you say this, because you obviously do care about certain things, like your little toys and knickknacks and whatnot, which, fine, but I don't care. But telling everybody else that they don't have kids because they care about these things is just stupid. And can you give me a source on that, please?
Because the children become your priority. I'm speaking as a man, as a woman. I know.
Well, which are you? As a man, as a woman? Okay, I'm speaking to you as a man, like none of that shit ever fucking mattered to me. Oh, you got a nice new drill too. Looks like the Wyobi one. Oh, no, I can't tell from here. But it looks like a newer model. Batteries are fucking bullshit expensive on all those.
Lots of women who have had children. And lots of women who I've known young women, girls, who grew up and they were narcissistic and sort of bitchy little nothings, right? And then all of a sudden they have a kid and they change radically. And
then they just transfer all that onto their kid. We know the story.
That narcissism and self-centeredness turns towards their child.
Exactly. Thank you for responding directly to what I said. Yes, that's exactly what they do. It's like, these are my genes, my genetic expression out in the world. Or, I guess half of it. But your mind just tends to think this is my child. It doesn't think this is half my kid, usually. This is how I'm going to somehow cheat death and survive longer and leave a legacy on this planet. So yeah, you're going to turn that self-centeredness and narcissism onto them. Duh.
And they become a much fuller human being. Because that's the thing that people don't seem to tell you very much. You see?
Okay, fuller human being in what sense? Picking up responsibilities? Yeah, I got them. I've never had to look far to get them. Most people don't.
When you're a young person, you are hollow. You are superficial. Frankly, you're an idiot.
I would agree with that, yeah. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem like you grew out of that.
Once you have a child, your priorities change. And as they change, who you are as a man, as a woman, flowers. It blocks.
Notices that he has to keep repeating himself, and he has to say, well, I'm a man now because I use my penis and balls to bring someone else in here. Or if you're a woman, yeah, look, I used my vagina and uterus to bring someone else here. Everyone else is just less than me because look at me, I'm a parent now. I got all these mouths to feed that no one asked me to do it. They didn't ask me for this responsibility. No one asked anybody to do it. Okay, you just did it. And then you try to treat everyone else like they're just little nothings, bitchy little nothings, like you say, because they don't have kids. Like it's the hardest thing on planet Earth to do. I think it's harder to avoid having kids. In some areas, at least.
You become more fully who you are. You become, not self-abnegating, that's not quite true. What happens is that you simply learn
You just transfer that on to your kids, yeah, we know.
to recognize what's important and what's not. and you focus on what is
Yeah,
important.
you can do that without kids. Again, you can easily figure out what's important and what's not. Is me getting like the brand spanking newest video game or iPhone or whatever the fuck super important? No. Is me paying my bills important? Yes. Shit like that. It shouldn't be fucking too hard to figure out what's important.
And you start to value things very differently. That iPhone that used to be so important, now it's just like, who gives a shit?
I was always like that, and there's plenty of people who have the same mentality I do. I'm definitely not alone here. I can easily afford an iPhone several times over. I'm just not going to waste my hard-earned cash on something that's stupid that can break in like a few months. Especially how over fucking priced they are. Fuck that.
But what starts to matter is the time you spend with the people you love, the time you spend with the people who love you. That becomes important.
It's still important to me even without kids. I don't need kids to get that sense of I'm only going to be able to spend so much time with the people I care about and love. Duh. I went and spent time with my friends today. I don't get to see them all the time. I'm going to be spending time with them again tomorrow, as well as my family, because it's Easter, so I'll get to see them both. And then I went and spent time with another friend of mine who I hadn't seen in a while. Yeah, I value that time much more than me just sitting here goofing around on the internet or something. Yeah, duh. I think everyone gets a sense of that if they have friends or family they actually care about.
Having the latest doodad, the latest gadget, doesn't matter. Going to the hottest show, doing something like that doesn't matter.
It never has. Again, why do you got to keep repeating yourself?
Sleep, that matters, and you start to value the sleep that you used to have, And you think back to yourself when you were in college, when you go to bed at 4 a.m. and wake up like at 3 p.m. and just like fritter away the whole day, and you think to yourself, God, I can't believe I had so much free time. Because once you have a kid, you have no free time. None whatsoever. And
Yeah, absolutely no free time. That's why you're making a YouTube video, and I don't hear any kids in the background screaming, "Daddy, Daddy, where are you?" I mean, you have 4 of them. You get free time as a parent. You just don't get as much, okay? Yeah, I'll give you that. I can understand that. That doesn't surprise me in any way, shape, or form. I still want to know why you have an analog and a digital clock, an iPad, and a tablet sitting right next to each other. Like, how? It'd be different if these were set to different time zones, but it doesn't look like it, at least according to what I'm seeing. It's so weird.
Greg and Mitch are absolutely right that your quality of life deteriorates insofar as you are concerned. But oddly,
Well, for a little bit at least. I mean, once they're past the toddler stage and they're in grade school and all that, when they're teenagers, they really don't want anything to do with you. At least from the experiences I've had and other people. So yeah, basically you really just take care, and plus you just drop them off at school most of the time so you can work and do whatever, babysitter, all that. So it's not like you spend every waking second of your fucking day taking care of your kids. Let's be honest here. And besides, I wouldn't expect any parent to do that. That's just ridiculous.
the quality of your life improves because all of a sudden you have a goal, a reason for being.
You can do that without kids. There's plenty of people who had goals and reasons for being alive other than kids. You don't need to have kids to get that sense of doing something important with your life if you feel that way. Like if you want to get involved in politics, for me it's like philosophy and stuff, and among other things, spending time with my friends and family, like you mentioned earlier, I find that to be important, and also getting quality me time. I enjoy that. There you go. That's important to me. Sometimes this YouTube channel is important to me. I like doing that. But having kids just to get that sense of importance, it's like, what were you doing beforehand? There's tons of other things you could do in your life. And I'm a pessimist. I mean, you can do quite a bit of other things in your life besides popping out kids to have to slog through a world that's just a war zone.
See, Greg and Mitch are focusing the whole issue of having a child or not having a child from the point of view of selfishness.
As opposed to you, who's focusing on the point of view of having a child from the point of selfishness. Yeah, because so you could find a goal and a meaning in your life. These guys are they're telling you, hey, if you value your marriage, you value the environment and all this sort of stuff, you value sleep, then don't have a kid. And the environmental reason wasn't really selfish at all, honestly. It was thinking about other people and your kids too. They were thinking about your kids. Maybe not directly, but kind of in a roundabout way. They were thinking, man, there's not going to be much of a future left here for the next generation coming up if we just rape this planet to death. I don't understand people like you. I really don't.
But once you have children and you devote all of your time towards them and your effort and energy towards them, you become bigger, a bigger person.
And that's not selfish at all. Are you going to mention one benefit for the kids to have brought them here? I already know you're not, so. Because I cheated and watched the video. Spoiler alert, but I think we all knew it wasn't going to come anyways.
Frankly, you become a more interesting person.
You become a more interesting person when you have kids. No, you don't. All the people I've known who became parents suddenly just didn't have time to do anything interesting, really. Not much time, at least. Yeah, I think we can all bear that out with our own experiences. Really, do I really need to go on? All the cool stuff people, like you'll hear your dad or your grandpa or somebody talk about all the cool stuff they used to do as a kid or teenager or a young adult, and then that suddenly, those stories just kind of stop once they have kids. I mean, we all know what they're talking about, really. Yeah. It just happens. Because you, like you said, your priorities have definitely shifted. And it's not that interesting to take care of basic bodily functions of people who are basically helpless once they get here, for several years at least.
You become a more complete person.
And again, so vague. A more complete person, a more full person, a more interesting person. In what ways?
Look, the funny thing is that I'm telling you all of this, and it's hard for you to believe me because more likely than not, you who are watching this do not have a child. Or
Well, you got that right. I don't have a kid, and I don't believe you one bit. You're not really selling me on the whole having kids deal. You haven't given me one unselfish reason for having them. Not one. And you accuse them of being selfish when they had concrete reasons, or at least more concrete than yours. Which, some sort of vague sense of fullness and responsibility and being interesting and all that. Finding a goal and a purpose. And again, those will cycle right back to you, not your kids. Come on. Be at least a little bit honest here.
have not had to raise a child. But I'm telling you, that's the way it is. It's the secret, of being a parent.
Is to have kids, yeah. Wow, I never knew that. Hey, the secret to being a parent is to have children. Anybody catch that? That's a big secret right there.
It's not fun. It's a lot of misery, a lot of worry. You worry all the time over every little fucking thing, right? The kid
And I hope so. I really hope you do.
coughs, and you're like, oh, well, maybe it's just a cough, or maybe it's like pneumonia. You get all paranoid about shit, about trivial shit, not about yourself.
You should definitely be a little bit paranoid about yourself, because if you're not around to take care of them, they're well fucked.
The kid coughs, or it gets a pimple or anything, and you start to freak out a little. It takes an actual effort of will for you to control your paranoia, because you are worried about something more important than yourself.
No, you just transferred the importance you had on your own physical body and transferred that to your kids, thinking that that's going to be your legacy when you leave here, when nobody really cares.
And that's a wonderful thing. You free yourself from your own consciousness, your own selfish and narcissistic preoccupation with yourself.
And then you transfer that onto your kids. Again, we know.
And you focus on somebody else. As a man, you're going to work a lot harder.
Do you focus on anybody else's kids besides your own? Because if you said that, I might think, man, maybe there is some not selfish reasons, or you're being selfless here, but you're not. You're definitely not talking about anybody else's kids but your own.
Because you're going to be trying to provide for the child. As a woman, you might have a career. You're not really going to give a shit about the career after you have a kid.
If you're a single mom, you're definitely going to give a shit because you are the sole provider for that child. Yes.
Because you're going to realize that the career is so unimportant when compared to the kid. Or kids, as the case may be. And the funny thing is that, at the end of your life, at the end of anybody's life, lots of people are going to regret the days that they spend at the office. Very few, if any, people will ever regret having had the kids that they had.
I would regret having a kid. Oh my God, I don't even know how I'd react to that. If I had a kid, holy shit. And didn't you just say you regret spending all the days at the office, but yet you got to work so much harder to provide for them? Yeah, does that seem to be congruent to you somehow? I don't understand, because you're going to be spending a lot more days at the office because you have people that depend on you for their, securing their resources and for their welfare and care and all that. How in the fuck are you going to escape not going to the office unless you're fucking rich as hell already and you just throw them off on a nanny somewhere?
More often than not, they'll wish they had had more. You see?
No, I know. 0 is a perfectly good number for me.
Because children give your life meaning.
Life has no meaning. Life has 0 meaning. Meaning only applies to things like us, mortal beings, because we need to get something. Like, I have water right here. It means something to me. It means I stay hydrated. But that's it. It doesn't mean anything else besides that. Having kids just means this game keeps getting played. It's not a meaning for life. It's just one of the many things that you can find meaning in, I guess. But there's really no meaning for life. No meaning to life. It just keeps going. It's just an auger of a meat grinder that keeps spinning. And you keep turning the handle, as a Mindem would say.
If the only meaning you aspire to in a life is consuming goods and services,
Yep, and have kids. There you go, because you're going to be needing a lot of those.
gadgets, iPhones, going to hit shows and crap like that, expensive restaurants, if that's the only thing that matters to you, then don't have a kid. Don't have a
Yeah, that never mattered to me, and I'm not having kids still. Pain and suffering, misery and toil, and eventual death. Realizing I'd be dropping someone into a nightmare generator is all I need to not have kids. That's it. I don't need anything else, and I don't need a citation for that. You could just bear out your own life from beginning to end. And you're much older than me, so yeah, it's not going to get any better for you.
kid. You know, you're going to be miserable. Because kids are.
Too late. In a lot of ways, I'm like, why the fuck did I wake up here just to suffer and die for nothing? Live like a dog and then die like one too. Fuck.
Misery. Kids are constant worry. They make you very happy, though. They make you so supremely happy.
Yep, and that's not selfish at all.
Listen, it's a little bit like sex. See?
Oh yeah, I forgot about this part. He's going to be comparing kids to having sex. It's about as great as you imagine.
Before you had sex, you heard of it and you heard it was pretty good, but then when you actually have sex, you realize what it's about.
And you realize it's kind of overrated, yeah. It's not as great as it's cracked up to be.
And you realize that it's not as incredible as it's cracked up to be, and having children is not
Yeah, great.
as incredible as it's cracked up to be. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, and you just said it's like the most important thing. It's like the whole meaning to life and all that. Yeah, it's not as great as it's cracked up to be. So which is it? And if that's the case, where it's not as great as it's cracked up to be, shouldn't you step back and pay attention to what you're doing or what you're in? This whole life thing where you really don't get any satisfaction whatsoever? Fuck, I'll even say it. If kids were the meaning to life and you're still not satisfied, it's still not all it's cracked up to be, that should tell you quite a bit now, shouldn't it?
But just like sex, you know, once you have had sex, once you have had kids, you realize the true satisfactions of it. And you realize,
You realize the true satisfactions of sex and having kids. Oh, God.
oddly enough, that it's not superficial. It can be very profound. And very,
Yeah, it can be. I'm sure having kids has its moments of profundity or whatever. I've had some amazing sex in my life too, but I'll tell you this much: the really bad things that have happened to me or came close to happening to me are the ones that keep me up at night. It's not the great sex I've ever had.
very moving and can change your life in ways that are extraordinary. And you realize after the fact.
It could be extraordinarily a bad experience too. Don't forget that part. It can be an extraordinarily bad experience for you too, especially if you lose them young. And I've known parents who that's happened to. They were born and they weren't even here a month before they died.
If you've had kids, after you've had a few years of getting used to it, after you've grown into the man or the woman that you truly are, you realize
I've grown into the man or woman that I'm supposed to be, because my balls have dropped years and years ago. I think it was like 14 or 15. So yeah, shaving gets really annoying too.
that your life, who you are, is incomplete without children. And that
Really? I'm pretty sure my life isn't complete until I'm dead.
the person you were before you had children was half a man, half a woman.
I don't know. I've still got both my balls. I mean, that almost applied to me. If you had talked to me a few weeks ago, if it had been the worst case scenario, yeah, you could have almost said that about me, but no, I'm still rocking a full set.
Incomplete. But hey, you know, what do I know? I only have 4 of them.
And yet you couldn't provide a single concrete reason for having them that benefits them either. You couldn't provide one Not even one. Just some vague sense of importance, responsibility. You become more complete. You're suddenly a man or a woman, even though that already happened to you years ago. But, whatever. But yeah, I mean, this is just stupid as fuck. If this sways people to have kids, I don't know what to tell people. This is what you're up against. This sort of stupidity, where these sort of stupid ass, like, vague notions of importance and responsibility and whatnot, all this crap, saying you're not worried about consumer goods, even though that's all you're going to be spending your time doing is acquiring goods and services for those dependents, and so on and so forth. I mean, I felt like it just got lied straight to my face. I felt like I was bullshitted here. I mean, at least Greg and Mitch were giving me some more concrete reasons to not have kids, I should say. Even if they're not the best, they're more solid than this. And you didn't really directly refute anything they said. They didn't say go out and buy an iPhone or something, as far as I remember, because you don't have kids. They just said if you value these certain things, like the environment, your marriage, your relationship with whoever, or you value your career, whatever, then don't have kids. It's not a good move, especially for women, as far as careers go. But yeah, I think that's it. But yeah, that's just kind of what I'm saying. These guys don't have any good, solid reasons for having kids. They just say do it because you get some sort of responsibility from it, which you could get that same sense for adopting someone, or taking care of someone who needs it, or hell, even adopting a pet. There you go. You can get this something similar. I mean, I got a stray cat I adopted years ago. I mean, it hasn't changed my life radically or nothing, but I still have to worry about her care and welfare, make sure she's fine. So yeah, I mean, she's just sitting there doing nothing like cats do, but still. It's still a factor in my life, I guess. It's not like an all-consuming factor, but yeah. There's not one solid concrete reason in here. And this is what entices people to have kids, because this guy's got 1,700 likes and not very many dislikes. He didn't cite a source. He didn't say anything. He's just like, I'm a parent of 4 kids. I would know. Okay. It's just so fucking retarded. I mean, I don't even know what to say, really. But I think that's it. You get the drill. Yeah. So yeah, just you should take the black pill, Coach Red Pill, and really look at what nightmare you just dropped 4 other people into. So anyway, I guess that's it. So thank you for listening. Have a good one.